Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Extreme Arena in Coralville, Iowa for tonight's matchup between the Iowa Hawkeyes and the Nebraska Cornhuskers. As we welcome you down to the floor, I'm A.J. Reister alongside Aaron Castle and Jerquavia Henderson for Cancer Awareness Day and National Girl and Women in Sports Day. We'll talk about that throughout the day, but let's preview this matchup. These two Big Ten schools battling out here in Coralville, Iowa. Both teams coming off of Big Ten losses last weekend. Iowa took one to the chin, 197.4 to 195.7 against Michigan State on the second half of a back-to-back last weekend. Then Nebraska took a tough loss to 10th-ranked Michigan, 196.9 to 195.275. But both of these teams have now had a week long for rest and recovery to prepare for today's meet. What do you two think, or what are you two excited to see between these two teams today?
Yes, in talking to Coach Heather Brink from Nebraska before the meet, she's really focused on her team, focusing on consistency and power. So building off of their routines to kind of peak at the right time throughout season is what Nebraska's going to be focusing on today. As for Iowa, they're coming off of 3 meets in 1 week, which is a challenge for anybody, but thankfully this week they have gotten the opportunity to rest and recover, and based off of their warm-ups, they look rejuvenated and ready to go.
Absolutely. I mean, for both teams, they are equal in having that week off, so we're definitely going to see some hype, good gymnastics tonight.
Not to mention, it's Iowa and Nebraska. What do Iowa and Nebraska have in common? Corn. So we'll see which state has the better corn tonight. Obviously, Iowa has A&F, and America does need farmers, so we'll see what happens with that.
It should be a fun one. We'll see who takes home the Corn Crown. Is that what we're calling it now, the Corn Crown?
The Corn Crown, sure.
Yes.
Love it. I love it. We'll see who takes that home today between these two squads, Iowa and Nebraska, both towards the bottom of the Big Ten, 2 meets in, but could be facing, Iowa's 0-2 right now in the Big Ten after taking one to Minnesota earlier in the season and Michigan State last weekend. Nebraska's coming in 1-1 after that loss to Michigan last weekend. But let's highlight these two coaches. You already talked to Heather Brink earlier today. Brink is in her 6th season as the head coach for the Cornhuskers, her 13th overall. She was an assistant head coach in 2011 to 15, associate head coach from 15 to 18, and obviously has took over in 2019 after becoming the interim head coach, but then took that label away as the official head coach since then. In 2018, they finished 6th place at Nationals, produced 8 All-Americans that year, and last year they reached the NCAA Denver Regional, where Emma Spence was named co-regional gymnast of the year. You two have obviously been around the Big Ten gymnastics scene for a long time. What have you seen from Heather Brink, and then what have you seen from Nebraska over the last few years?
Yes, so I had multiple club teammates compete at Nebraska, and I've heard nothing but great things about Heather. I think she was, with her experience, a great person to take over their program. And so, yeah, I think we're going to see some good things from them tonight.
Absolutely.
And then on the other side, head coach Larissa Libby for the Iowa Hawkeyes in her 20th season, her 24th overall. She has led this team to 23 straight NCAA regional appearances, led Iowa to its first Big Ten title back in 2021, which you were both a part of. And then she's also a 3-time Big Ten and 2-time NCAA regional coach of the year. We already mentioned 2021, but what have been some of your other experiences with head coach Larissa Libby?
Yes, Larissa is just the best. Obviously, we both were on the team when we won that regular season Big Ten championship. It was such a special moment because Larissa actually got Big Ten Coach of the Year, which was so well-deserved, but can't say enough good things about her. She really is good at taking the athlete and individually making them the best that they can be during their 4 years here. So,
Yes, I mean, you really can't say, enough great, amazing things about Larissa Libby. I mean, she has taken this program to new heights, and honestly every single year, being us both being gymnasts on her team, her program definitely treats you as an individual first. She always puts your person first, so they definitely do a good job with Win, Graduate, Do It Right. So it's always a pleasure to call myself a Hawkeye.
And she celebrated her birthday last week when we were here against Southern Utah, so it's been a great 20 seasons so far with head coach Larissa Libby.
Yes.
And a great start to this season so far. But we're about 30 seconds out from getting things started here in the first rotation of things. Let's run through what we should expect from both teams. I will be starting out on the vault with Gianna Masella, who made her vault debut last weekend against Michigan State. Had an incredible score of 9.825 and also helped the team get their season high on the vault of 49.1. We'll see if they can continue that momentum into today against Nebraska.
Yes, absolutely. We're about to see Gianna go on vault. And as always on vault, you're looking for good height off the table, a strong block, and you're looking for height and distance in the flip. So you want to see it go up and you want to see it travel, and then obviously stick that landing. So Gianna's about to go. We'll see what kind of vault she's going to do. Beautiful vault from Gianna.
A Yurchenko full. A little bit crunchy on the table, but, you know, the leadoff position is an important one. And from the leadoff, we want to help make sure that we go from start to finish building those scores as the lineup continues.
So for Nebraska, they'll be starting off on the uneven bars with Shangay Boxguy. A fun name to try and say. We had to go over a couple of times. She is a sophomore from Budapest, Hungary, and she'll be starting things off for Nebraska on the uneven bars.
Beautiful kick pip cast handstand, straight to a packed salto from the high bar to the low bar. There's another cast handstand to a chapash. Good cast handstand on the high bar. To her dismount double layout, step forward, but that was a solid routine for Nebraska. On bars, we're looking for handstands. We're looking for clean lines. So you want to see the gymnast on top of the bar with straight legs and pointed toes. And then obviously always Gymnastics 101, stick the landing.
Stick the landing. That's how it is at the end of the day.
See if Hannah can stick the landing.
Oh, a good Yurchenko full from Hannah Castillo.
Took a hop backward, but that was a big vault.
Hannah Castillo, a sophomore out of Florida, season best this year on the vault, a 9.8, which she's hit twice, and the last time was against Michigan State. We'll see what the judges decide on that one. Marcella was given a 9.675 on her opening vault.
One thing you also want to see in a vault is flat hips. So you want to make sure that your hips aren't piked at all and there's no angle. You want to be as flat as possible while you're flipping and twisting. And I think both Gianna and Hannah had a little bit of pike in their hips, which is where you're going to see the deduction.
So on the uneven bars now for Nebraska, it's Sophia McClelland stepping up for the Cornhuskers this season. For McClelland, she's been doing a lot for this squad on the all-around this season. On the uneven bars, she has a career high of 9.875, which was set back last year. She has not had an official attempt on the uneven bars this season, however.
Good cast handstand to start. She does a blind change into a straddle Jaeger. Good distance from the bar. Beautiful cast handstand. Straight into a bail. When we're talking about lines, this is exactly what we're talking about. She has beautiful, long lines on bars. It's a double layout, step forward, but that was a good routine. Minimal deductions beside the dismount.
Yes, her lines are absolutely beautiful.
Nice finish on the uneven bars for McClelland after Boxguy scored a 9.725 to start things off. Here's Avery Chambers for the Hawkeyes on the vault.
Another Yurchenko full. She has a huge block off the table. Slight hop back, but overall that's a good vault for Avery.
Castillo was given a 9.75 on her vault. Back over for the Cornhuskers is Whitney Jenks. This season for Whitney, another one who has been having a great season so far. On the uneven bars, she has a season high 9.8. She's hit twice, which was also good for a career high. That was set last weekend against Michigan as she gets ready to go. Well, we mentioned it at the top of the show that today is also National Girls and Women's in Sports Day. Obviously a massive thing here at the University of Iowa. Women's sports has almost become more popular than a lot of the men's sports, especially when you look at the basketball side of things. But gymnastics has also taken a massive surge forward. They moved over here to Extreme Arena, and this place is packed for most meets.
Yes. Beautiful bar routine from Whitney. That was amazing. But yes, going off of National Girls and Women's Sports Day, women's sports at Iowa, like you said, has taken off tremendously with very strong athletes like Caitlin Clark. We're about to see Elise go here on vault. Nice Yurchenko full, hop back on the landing, but it looks like she's really trying to dial in on that landing, so I bet as the season goes on, it'll get a little bit more consistent. Huge block off the table for her. Little pike down, which is causing her to hop back because it keeps her rotating, whereas if she were to flatten her hips, it would kind of stop her rotation and get a better landing.
Scored a 9-8 last weekend against Michigan State, good for a career best. And now we go back over to the bars with Clara Colombo. But you two have also seen the surge here at Iowa in women's sports. You've been a part of it. You got a Big Ten title back in 2021. And Q, you were able to compete in Extreme Arena last year quite a bit. I believe it was one of the first years that the Iowa gymnastics team competed in this arena.
Yes.
After competing in Carver for ever before that. What was it like moving over from Carver and now to Extreme Arena and seeing these crowds fill up like this?
I mean, it's honestly, like, you can't even put it into words. It's amazing just competing and wearing a Hawkeye on your chest every weekend. But I mean, the fans are absolutely incredible. They definitely make our meets with, their smiles, their cheers, but it's always packed and we always get to see some familiar faces and new ones. So it was really fun. The transition was easier than we thought it would be. We love Carver, but Extreme is amazing.
I believe Iowa's still hosting one meet at Carver later this season,
Yes.
but I believe everything else is going to be right here at Extreme Arena as Colombo sticks a landing.
That was a beautiful bar routine. She had beautiful handstands, really good lines, just to hop on that dismount. But that was excellent.
It's Clara Colombo for the Cornhuskers. And we can't talk about Girls and Women's in Sports Day without bringing up Nebraska's huge job in promoting women's sports, as there's Ava Volpe.
That was a great vault for Ava. She took a tiny hop on that landing, but that was really good.
The co-Big Ten Freshman of the Week last week. She was scoring season best, career best, all across the board. A 9-8 on vault against Michigan State last week. We'll see what she gets here today. Karen Bauer given a 9-8 on her last vault attempt. But again, going back to Nebraska's, I'd say, contributions and things like that towards women's in sports. We talked about the volleyball game they hosted inside their football stadium. That got absolutely packed.
Watching that was
That
insane.
gave me chills like through a screen. I got chills. No, it's incredible. Selling out Memorial Stadium for a volleyball game is incredible. So it's the future is bright for women in sports.
Yes, it is.
We've already seen Iowa take a chance on having a women's game in a football stadium, obviously with the crossover at Kinnick earlier this year when the women's basketball team took on DePaul at Kinnick. We'll see if that continues forward with traditions like that moving forward. I know Iowa's already talked about possibly doing it again sometime.
Stuck double back. That was incredible.
That was a beautiful bar routine.
That was Emma Spence for Nebraska. Spence, one of their better gymnasts this season, also competing in the all-around.
See Karina do a huge Yurchenko full.
Wow, almost a stuck landing. That was beautiful. And of course, the big celebration. You can tell she's very happy with that.
You can see how flat her hips are as she's coming out of that twist. she just flares that out and finds the landing every time.
She's definitely happy with that vault. Let's hope the judges are too.
Munoz scored a 9.775 last weekend against Michigan State, has a season best of 9.875, which she opened up with against Washington at the beginning of the season. Emma Spence for Nebraska on the uneven bars scored a 9.9.
That was well deserved.
The best score we've seen on the uneven bars so far today.
The goal of the lineup is to kind of build score-wise. So you want each routine to build off of the previous one so that that score continues to go up. So with Emma Spence getting a 9.9 in the 5th spot, that sets up Kinsey to potentially get even higher. And it looks like this routine could do just that if she can get this stick.
Oh, so close.
Hop or step on the landing. So probably won't go much higher than a 9.9, but that was a beautiful routine aside from that step.
Davis has a season high of a 9.975 back on January 12th. She's hit that a couple of times in her career. That little step, probably won't see a 9.975 on that attempt, but certainly going to be a good score. As we head back over, vault is done. Karina Munoz was the last to go for Iowa. She scored a 9.85 to close out the vault event for the Hawkeyes. For Nebraska, they will have Genesis Gibson go on an exhibition attempt here on the uneven bars.
Yes, and like we said last time, the exhibition is really for the athlete to get more experience. It's also an opportunity for the coaches to put that athlete in front of judges and see what her routine would score. It might be someone who's on the edge of a lineup and just needs more experience, but either way, it's a really good opportunity. Any competition setting you can put yourself in is going to help you become a better competitor in the long run. She has a nice half pirouette on top of the bar. A little short on that last handstand. She'll go into her dismount now. Double layout. A couple steps back, but that was a good routine.
Now Genesis Gibson on an exhibition attempt. Kinsey Davis given a 9.8 on her uneven bar. So after one rotation, Cornhuskers leading 49.075 to the Hawkeyes 48.95. They'll switch things up. They'll flip-flop. And when we come back, we'll have the Hawkeyes on the uneven bars and the Cornhuskers on the vault in a battle for the Corn Crown here at Extreme Arena. You're watching Big Ten Gymnastics on Big Ten Plus. Welcome back to Extreme Arena in Coralville, Iowa. AJ Reister alongside Aaron Castle and Q Henderson. After one rotation, Nebraska Cornhuskers leading 49.075 to the Hawkeyes 48.950. We saw a lot of big scores on both sides on the bars. Whitney Jenks a 9.825, Clara Colombo a 9.8, Emma Spence a 9.9, and Kinsey Davis wrapped things up with a 9.8 to get the Cornhuskers an early lead. On the other side for Iowa on the vault, Hannah Castillo a 9.75. Went second after Marcella. Avery Chambers went a 9.775. Karen Bauer a 9.8. Volpe continuing her phenomenal start to her season, a 9.775. And Munoz closed things out with a 9.85. That's how the Hawkeyes got to a 48.95 as we get ready here for the second rotation. But first, what did you two see from that first rotation on both sides?
I mean, we definitely saw some good gymnastics, just some slight mistakes, both teams having just those small critiques on the landings. Again, nothing you can't go back in the gym and fix, but it's not about how you start. It's definitely about how you finish. So both teams have, 3 rotations to raise their standard and get their scores back up.
Out of Nebraska on vault, we're going to be seeing some big vaults. They have a couple of 10.0 start values. Every vault that Iowa did started at a 9.95. So you have to do a certain level of skill to get that 10.0 start value. So we'll see a couple of Yurchenko 1.5s from them on vault, which kind of sets them apart a little bit from Iowa's lineup.
We'll start off with Sophia McClelland. She has a season high 9.8 on the vault, a career high of 9.85. 9.85 set last year.
So Yurchenko full. That was a good Yurchenko full. She landed on the white line, which will be a deduction. You want to stay within that white line. Might be able to see it in this angle. Good body position in the air, just a little bit sideways, which usually means she twisted off the table a little bit too early. Won't be much of a deduction. That's a good start for Nebraska's vault lineup.
So now here's the freshman Ava Volpe again, the Big Ten freshman. Oh, sorry about that.
This is Marissa Rojas on bars,
sorry.
starting off with a fall. Just didn't quite get to the bar on her release move. So she'll have about 30 seconds to chalk up and get her mindset back to where it needs to be before she finishes her routine.
It's always difficult to start the lineup off with a fall, but
and you hear the crowd cheering her on as she goes back up to the bar. You know, a little bit of extra support.
the girls are trained for this, so whatever the person does in front of you doesn't really matter. You're there to do your routine like you do every day in practice. And Marissa's finishing up strong here.
A full in, almost to a stick. Slight leg separation, but good finish on her part.
That was Marissa Rojas, a junior out of Canton, Michigan. Little hop right at the end. But that's how the first round of uneven bars wraps up for the Hawks. Back on the vault for Nebraska.
Yurchenko full, big Yurchenko full, hop back. That was a pretty clean vault. That'll be a good score for Nebraska.
Now it's Isabel Sykon for the Cornhuskers. After McClellan scored a 9.775. Isabel Sykon following up with that attempt on the vault, has a season high of 9.725. As we go back to the uneven bars, here's Ilka Juk.
This is a beautiful routine. She has very nice, sharp lines. And of course, it's always hard to follow up a fall, but again, like Erin said, this is what, the girls train for day in and day out.
Juk scored a 9.6 last weekend against Michigan State. She prepares for her attempt. A junior out of Vancouver has a season best 9.825. That was set in Minneapolis against the Golden Gophers, has a career best on the uneven bars of 9.875, which was set back last year.
Starts off a handstand, toe hand, straight to a release, back down to the low bar with a pack. A little bit of struggle. She's supposed to do a pirouette, and there she gets it on top of the bar. She prepares for her dismount. Still a little short on that handstand. To a full twisting giant, double tuck. Little low, but she got through it.
You will see a deduction on that cast handstand that she didn't quite make and had to redo. You will see a deduction on that.
Marissa Rojas officially given an 8.85 for her start on the uneven bars. As we go back to the vault, here's Kinsey Davis, who wrapped up the bars with a 9.8.
Yurchenko full. Had a little bit of pike tips and bent legs in the air, but
Davis scored a 9.8 last week.
You can see that leg bent in the air.
It looked like she may have been on the yellow a little bit on the safety zone.
So Iowa's Ava Volpe now will prepare. The co-Big Ten Freshman of the Week. Scored a 9.775 on the vault.
If there's anybody that can get the bar lineup back on track right now, it is Ava Volpe. She is rock solid. She's consistent. She is a bit just unfazed. She just does what she needs to do. And so hopefully she can keep doing that in this routine.
Yes.
Volpe last week scored a 9-8 on the uneven bars.
Beautiful handstand to a piked Jaeger. She's going to a bail to handstand. And she also prepares for her dismount. Got that last handstand. And she is going to do a double lay and gets the stick. And that's how you get a bar lineup back on track. That was a very good routine for her.
That was impressive. And I just can't get over it. She's a freshman.
She is a freshman.
She competes like she's a senior, and she's a freshman.
Those
Just
Hawkeyes,
so solid.
this entire Hawkeye squad is so young. So many freshmen and sophomores stepping up in big positions. And right there, Volpe stepping up in a big way. Back on the vault for Nebraska's Asia Hall.
Big Yurchenko full from Asia. She was had her chest down a little bit, but that was a huge vault. Good laid out position in the air. Goes up on her toes to try to get that stick.
She's very close.
And Ava Volpe with a big uneven bars. Kinsey Davis, a 9.65 on the vault before that attempt from Asia Hall. Marissa Rojas led things out with an 8.85. Then Jacques followed up with a 9.25. Ava Volpe certainly going to get a big score. 9.825, count that, as a season best.
They needed that.
And here we go with Kaya Vanny, who's fairly new to the bar lineup, but has done a great job so far. She goes right up to the high bar and connects right to a pack. She gets that pirouette just a little short. She's going to prepare for her dismount. Gets that last handstand. And a huge double lay, just slight hop back. She looks happy with that routine.
Kaya Vanny for Iowa.
See that dismount one more time. Beautiful in the air, just, yes, that one hop back. They changed the scoring a little bit recently. When I was on the team, you could kind of like throw your head back, not really stick it, kind of just make it look like you sticked it.
But now you got to hold.
But yeah, now you have to hold for 2. So that's a little bit more challenging to do. Huge Yurchenko, 1.5. That was amazing.
That was from Chenge Bakse for University of Nebraska.
See that one more time. A huge block off the table. Little bent knees in the air. She takes one step forward, but the height and the distance on that was so good.
Bakse, one of the better gymnasts for Nebraska this season in the all-around. Ava Volpe's 9.825 correction was not a season best. Her season best was last week against Southern Utah, 9.85. Vanny given a 9.725 on the uneven bars.
And here we go with Gianna Masella. Starts off with a nice handstand. She goes to a huge straddle Jaeger. And straight to a bail handstand. And she also does a double A dismount. Gets her last handstand. There it is. She is definitely happy with that routine.
One thing about Gianna on bars is that her release flips above the bar, which is exactly what you want to see. She's happy with that one.
Scored a 9.825 last week against Michigan State. As we go back to the vault, it's Martina Comine.
Another huge Yurchenko, 1.5, just takes the step on the landing. A pretty big step, but a pretty big vault. So good block off the table. As the season goes on, you'll start to see the landings kind of dial in and get a little bit cleaner, less deduction. But we're still early on in the season. And as Coach Heather said, they're looking for consistency. So looks like they're doing that.
Much progress to be made on both sides.
Gianna Masella given a 9.85. Trina Munoz will now Get ready for the Hawks on the uneven bars.
And here's Karina. She does a hop to a pike Jaeger, again above the bar. And she goes into a pack salto. Pirouette right on top of the bar.
She just floats. It looks so
She's
easy
like a
for
butterfly.
her. Yeah.
Hits that last handstand. Clear hip, straight into a double A. And gets
Wow.
the stick. Oh, yep, there it is. A rock star. That was a very good routine from Karina.
A massive finish on the uneven bars for Munoz. Came in with a season best of 9.875 against Washington. And the celebration at the end. Back on vault, closing things now. It's Caitlin Barth on exhibition.
Good Yurchenko full from Caitlin. You want to see a little bit more height off the table, but I think she's really happy with that one.
So that's how the second rotation will close out. We'll wait for the final results on Karina Munoz to get the official score for Iowa. But a great performance on the uneven bars.
Yeah, a good comeback. Those first two routines for the Hawkeyes on bars, obviously were not what they wanted, but the rest of the lineup came back strong.
Munoz officially given a 9.85. So after two rotations, the Cornhuskers leading 98.075. The Hawkeyes 97.45. We're halfway through. Looks like we're going to have an exhibition round on the uneven bars.
And here we have Ella Castellanos. So she's been out for a little bit with just an injury to the shoulder, but she has been training so hard to get back into this bar lineup. An unfortunate fall. So she'll have 30 seconds to chalk up and do what she needs to. You see Quest Hayden, the coach on bars, kind of giving her a pep talk to get her ready. So she'll most likely start her routine again.
When you're a coach, after you see your gymnast fall like that, what is typically something you'd say to get their confidence back up? Obviously, you're not going to get the score that you want, but you still have to go through and finish the event. What, as a coach, are you saying to her?
I think it's kind of just a, hey, reset, take a breath, finish the routine strong. And just make sure the athlete is okay. You know, it's never fun to fall. You want them to be safe. You want them to finish their routine like as clean as possible. So whatever that athlete needs, that's a good thing about this coaching staff. And I would probably say just about every coaching staff in the nation, you spend so much time with your athletes that you kind of know what each athlete needs to reset and kind of regroup if you're having an off day. So Quest is really good about that. I'm sure he just said, hey, let's just finish strong.
Yeah.
I mean, it's okay.
I've seen this girl do amazing bar routines, and she's such a hard worker. So, I mean, again, it's early in the season, and as it comes along, that will definitely progress. It just probably isn't her day today, and that's okay.
Castellanos able to finish.
Beautiful dismount. Once she gets it all put together, it'll be good and ready to go.
So that will conclude the second rotation. So we're halfway through. Cornhuskers leading 98.075 to the Hawkeyes 97.45. When we come back, we'll have the third rotation. Nebraska will be on the floor, and the Hawkeyes will be on the beam. You're watching Big Ten Gymnastics on Big Ten Plus. Welcome back to Extreme Arena in Coralville, Iowa, where the Nebraska Cornhuskers currently lead the Iowa Hawkeyes 98.075 to 97.45 after 2 rotations. I'm A.J. Reister alongside Aaron Castle and Q Henderson. And ladies, we've had some great gymnastics so far through the first 2 rotations. We look at what we just saw on the vault for Nebraska. Sophia McClellan started things out with a 9.775. And then Sycon followed up with a 9.8. Hall with a 9.8. Box Sky a 9.875. And Comeen closed things out with a 9.8 on the other side for the Hawkeyes. On the uneven bars, Juck with the 9.25. Volpe a 9.825. Vanius 9.725. Masella a 9.85, and Munoz closed things out with a 9.85 as well. What were some things that you two saw in that second rotation for both squads?
Yes, so obviously Iowa had a couple of falls on bars, so going into these last 2 rotations, they're going to look to put that behind them and recover from that. Nebraska had some huge vaults, and going into floor, they're probably going to bring that power and dynamics with them into the floor exercise. And then Nebraska will end on beam, which is always kind of tough to do when you're away, but it is what it is, kind of. So
This is true. I mean, moving
it's
forward,
gymnastics.
moving forward, both teams, of course, have, their mistakes, but like Aaron said, they're trained to, let it go, put it behind them, and ultimately you do have to kind of leave it in the past and move on because you have essentially 2 other events to do.
We got 2 more events as we get ready for the second half of the duel between the Hawks and the Cornhuskers. A battle for the Corn Crown. That's what we've been calling this one.
We coined that ourselves.
We did. Don't trademark it, please. Copyright. I don't even know what the real words would be for that.
Maybe we get an A&F meet in here next.
Hey,
next
that's
there
a
we
good
go.
idea.
There we go.
And it
I
can
like
be
that.
the Corn Crown. Maybe we make the Iowa-Nebraska meet an A&F meet next time.
That's a great idea. You should pitch that
We
to
make
somebody.
an actual corn crown.
That is a great idea. We need to find someone to make a Corn Crown.
I'll talk to them.
Awesome. We've got Ava Volpe starting things off on the beam for Iowa. She's co-Big Ten Freshman of the Week. On vault, she scored a 9.775. On the uneven bars, a 9.825.
So solid on that acro series.
And of course, you hear the Taylor Swift in the background.
We figured out last week, or at least Q, you told us that she's the biggest Swiftie on the team.
Yes, she knows a lot of facts about T-Swizzle.
Nice switch leap to switch quarter.
She scored a 9.8 against Michigan State last weekend and a 9.75 against Southern Utah, which we were here for.
Beautiful front aerial. She's gonna get ready for a dismount here. She does a 1.5 in the tucked position. Beautiful lead off beam routine from Ava Volpe. What a little stud. See that dismount again. Just the hop, everything else super solid.
We've talked so much about how impressive it is that Iowa squad is so young, so many freshmen and sophomores stepping up, and especially now with Adeline Kenlin going down for the rest of the season. Those freshmen and sophomore like Ava Volpe are going to have to step up big time the rest of the year.
That's good experience for them, though, and they're the future. They're the future of the program, so it's good for them to get experience while they're young.
This is Katie Heeneman for the Nebraska Cornhuskers opening up the floor routine.
She opens up with a huge double pike. And of course you see her teammates getting into the routine. She's going for her second pass. A front lay, front full. So in the floor routines, of course judges are looking for, clean, solid passes, but they're also looking for, that personality to show through. So each routine has individualized by the coaches for, for the athletes, just personality and who they are as a person to shine through.
This is Kiedeman's first routine this season. She has a career best 9.85. She's hit that 3 times in her career. The last one came last year in March.
She's going for her last pass. A 1.5 layout, very clean. Of course, you're looking for the landings not to have any wobbles or hops. And for a leadoff position, that was a really good routine for the Huskers. Her teammates are clearly very happy for her.
The junior out of Longview, Texas, leads things off for the Cornhuskers on the floor routine. Nice finish for Keeneman to start things off as we go back to the beam with Alexa Ebeling.
Alexa has been doing an excellent job for the Hawkeyes this year. She was in the beam lineup last year a little bit, but she's really kind of stepped up and become a leader this year. Beautiful handspring layout. So we'll see her in the beam and the floor tonight.
Alexa on the beam scored a 9.8 at Michigan State last week. Has a season best 9.875 set against Washington to start off the season.
Side aerial, just beautiful. Nice sweep series.
Volpe officially given a 9.75 to open up the balance beam event.
Alexa's doing a new dismount as of last week. She does a gainer full stuck.
Wow.
Wow, that's going to be a good score.
A massive stick for Alexa Ebeling.
See that dismount one more time. Chest, honestly, right where it's supposed to be.
For a
Great
dismount
routine.
off of one leg, it's very impressive.
Yeah.
You have to have a lot of strength to do that.
Now we go back to the floor routine with Whitney Jenks for the Cornhuskers. Keeneman a 9.8 to open things up for Nebraska.
She's going for her first pass. It's a punch front. Rudy, nice landing. Very controlled.
Jenks scored a season high 9.825, which was good for a career high last weekend against Michigan. She's hit that score twice this season.
Wow, leap series turned all the way around, so judges are definitely looking for if you're slightly short or if they're going to give you credit for that. She's gearing up for her third and final pass. Ran up by handspring, double back, wow. Chest up on the landing, and that's a good finish. Another good routine for the Huskers.
The freshman out of Madison, South Dakota, goes second on the floor routine for the Cornhuskers and finishes it off strong.
And you see her double back is very nice and controlled, and that's exactly what judges want to see.
Now here's Ilka Juk for the Hawkeyes on the balance beam after Ebeling scored a 9.85.
See that back handspring layout. Triple series from Ilka. That was beautiful. We missed her mount. She does a very difficult mount. She does a round off back handspring onto the beam. And she did it beautifully today. It was a switch leap into a beat jump. We talked about last time, Ilka has just about every skill in the book that you could do on beam. So she kind of has to pick which ones she's going to put in her routine based off of what's the most consistent. But she has some very unique skills, so she's very fun to watch.
She scored a season-high 9.9 against Southern Utah last time they were at home. She has a career-best 9.975 against Pitt last year.
There's a full twisting back handspring there. A little bobble, but she pulled it up nice and finished it well. See her go into her dismount. There's a cartwheel gainer full. stuck landing from Ilka. That's back-to-back sticks for the Hawkeyes.
Great finish for Ilka Juck on the balance beam. After following up Volpe's 9.75 and Alexa's 9.85, we'll see what Juck scores as we head back to the floor routines with Hallie Rourke. Jenks was officially given a 9.85. Keeneman started off with a 9.8.
A huge double back to open up.
You two both talked about how in the floor routine it's supposed to bring out your personality traits.
Yes.
And I believe we talked about this last time we were on the air, but we're going to bring it up again. What were your floor routines and how did it bring out your personality traits?
Oh, goodness.
I mean, for me, I know we talked a little bit about Aaron last time,
Yeah.
but for me, it kind of just depended. I worked a lot with Coach Libby just on telling a story, and I think that was my main thing is I wanted it to be special to me, and I wanted it to be personal, so that way when I went out, it was definitely a connection between me, my music, and my routine and my skills that I was doing. So it definitely is different for everyone, depending on what you want to show.
And her routine was really fun. Like it was dramatic and fun, which I think is a good spot to be.
What was your song, Q? What was your song of choice for your floor routine?
I couldn't even tell you what the
What
music was called, but I'm a person who likes a lot of drums. I like to, feel the beat through the floor, so it kind of just depends.
Hallie Rourke finishes up her floor routine. We'll see what the judges score on that one as we go back to the balance beam with this time it is Aubrey Nick for the Hawkeyes. Juck was given a 9.725 on her beam attempt.
Aubrey is doing a little bit of a new routine this week. She's going to do a new acro series. You'll see she do a beat jump straight into a front aerial connected to a back handspring.
Good
Beautiful.
fight.
Wow. And so in each routine on any of the events, you're looking to do enough skills to build up to a 10, and then you get deducted from a 10. So you have to do enough skills to get enough bonus that your routine equals a 10. And she just did a combination of skills that gave her a 10-0 start value, and then she just dismounted and stuck the landing, got off the beam, and she's good to go. That's going to be a good score.
Yes, that's the thing about, gymnastics, our sport, is the only one that takes, you're at perfect, and then it
You
kind of
take away.
Yeah.
It's a very interesting scoring system.
It very much is.
But you said how some routines start off with a 10-0 value. So what do you have to do to get to that, start with that 10-0 value, or in another question, I guess, sort of way, what starts off as a 9.5 value? What are the other values that you can start off with? So
usually to be in a lineup, you have to have a routine equaling a 9.5, and then you have to get about 5/10 of it's called bonus. And so your skills, the difficulty level of the skills, they're rated A, B, C, D, E. And so based off of that, each skill value is worth a certain amount of tenths. So you start at a 9.5, you get enough bonus to add up to a 10, and then when you do your routine, so going in, you're basically starting from a 10 because you wouldn't be out there if you weren't really starting from a 10.
Yeah.
But if you don't make the connections, or you don't make it all the way around, or you have a bent leg, have a flex foot, take a step on the landing, those are all deductions. So once you start from a 10, those things are being deducted from the routine.
Gotcha. This is Shenge Boxguy for Nebraska on her floor routine.
Yes, she started off her routine with a big pass, 2.5 punch front, and now she's going for her second. A round off back handspring double pike with a stick.
Wow.
Very good routine. A powerhouse, packed-filled routine. That's definitely going to score well for the Huskers.
Boxguy came in with a floor routine best 9.95 set earlier this season, and a great finish there for the Cornhusker.
We're going to see Marissa Rojas up on the beam now.
Rojas last weekend on the beam scored a 9.65 against Michigan State. Comes in with a season-best 9.875, which she set in Minneapolis against the Golden Gophers. She has a career-best 9.925, which was set back a couple of years ago against Michigan State.
We'll see her get ready for her series. She does a triple series as well, back handspring layout, solid. Goes into a switch leap, split 3/4. On both beam and floor, we're looking for those leaps to be 180 degrees or more, so you want their legs to be pretty much flat. There's a gainer, full, stuck, dismount.
Wow.
Great job for Marissa.
Hawkeyes sticking the landing on almost every single one of their balance beam routines so far today. And Rojas no different. She finishes off her routine with a stick.
That's a testament to beam coach Jessa Hansen. She's done a phenomenal job since taking over the beam coaching duties for the Hawkeyes.
Rock Sky scored a 9.9 on her floor routine. Now here's Martina Comine for the Cornhuskers.
Here she goes for her first pass. And she does a huge full in, nice controlled landing. And this is also a fun routine. Oh, we saw a little bit of a mistake that'll definitely cost. She was supposed to do a leap series, so not having all of those requirements will definitely take away her start value, not starting from a 10-0.
So your start value can change as the routine goes on if you don't hit certain requirements.
Yes.
Yeah, it's usually an issue of if you connect something or not. So you'll have like a leap series that has multiple jumps in a row. And if you don't connect all of those jumps, then it takes away from your start value.
She does a 1.5 layout. You see her doing that leap series again. Very good. We'll definitely have to see what the judges come up with for that routine.
That was very smart of her.
Yes,
to throw
very
it in there
good
at the end.
finish.
Yes.
Sometimes you have to make those slight, last minute decisions to, we're always on our toes about how do I calculate this and this and this. So, gymnasts have to be very aware of what have they in their routines, what are they going to get deducted on, what they need to redo. So it definitely is a mind game while you're going.
Sometimes you don't have time, but she had time to just kind of throw it in there, so that was very smart of her.
Yes.
That was Martina Comine for the Cornhuskers. We'll see what the judges decide as we go back to the balance beam. It's Karina Munoz closing things out for the Hawks. Rojas scored a 9.8. Her and Ebling both scoring over 9.8 on the balance beam. Go back and forth on the team scores. It's a tight one here in this third rotation.
See Karina get ready for her acro series here. There's a back handspring back layout. Little bobble. Going to her dismount, back handspring, gainer full. Takes a couple hops back, but that dismount floated. You like to see it raise above the beam, and that's exactly what she did. So that was a good routine for Karina.
That's how the beam will close out for the Hawks. And we go to the final floor routine for the Huskers. It's Sophia McClelland.
Looks like the judges are talking over the previous routine for the Huskers, probably going over that leap discretion to see what each person came up with the thing about gymnastics is the scoring is super subjective. It's kind of just based off of what the judge sees. So that's sometimes they have to have conferences to kind of go over, okay, I came up with this start value, I came up with this start value, and see how they can kind of reconcile it.
So as a coach, when you're seeing those conversations happen, are you more talking to your athlete, trying to calm them down as you see that happen, or are you trying to sway the judges a little bit?
I mean, you definitely want to, more focus on your athlete because, 9 times out of 10, that routine is already done. So it is important for, the coaches and the team to focus on the next person up. It's all about putting what has happened aside and moving forward because you do want to build from what has happened.
Sometimes coaches have the opportunity after the event or at the end to challenge or see why a score was the way it was, but for the most part in the event while it's happening, you're not focused on trying to sway the opinions, I guess.
Comine was given a 9-7 after the conference. Now here is Sophia McClelland for the Cornhuskers. Comes in with a season-high 9.875, which she's hit a couple of times, and has a career-high 9.925, which was set last year in March.
She also opened up with a huge first pass. Now she's going to her leap series. Very good. So the judges do have to decide for leap series if they give the athlete, if they've been all the way around, meaning they make a full 360, or if they fall a little bit short. And you can see this is quite a fun routine. She gears up for her second pass. Wow, a Rudy to a layout step out. You don't really see that anymore. It's not as common. Very good finish on floor for the Huskers.
That was beautiful.
Sophia McClelland closes out the floor routine for Nebraska.
See that last pass one more time. Beautiful, just floaty.
She's so high. It's amazing.
Here's Ella Castellanos for Iowa on exhibition for the beam. So Iowa will finish this third rotation with a score of 146.325 on the overall team score, but here's Castellanos in exhibition.
Like we said earlier, Ella is coming off of an injury, so this is the first meet we've seen her in this year. Struggled a little bit on the bars, but looking to leave that in the past. Solid handspring layout. And see what she can do with this exhibition routine on beam. Little bobble on that full turn. Split jump. Stag jump. We'll have to see if, I don't have the best angle for it, but we'll have to see if the judges give her that credit for throwing her head back. Get ready for her dismount. She has a cartwheel, gainer full, stuck landing. That was awesome for Ella. First routine back, it was an exhibition, so the score doesn't count towards the team, but I'm sure she feels good about that routine and getting back out there and leaving bars behind.
Yes, I mean, coming back off of an injury is, from experience, it's so hard because you've been out for, a season, and then you don't really have the experience of what the nerves and the pressures feel like, and you can tell she is very, very happy. And her teammates are happy for her, as she should be. But it's very emotional to, come back and just do what you love, especially being in front of a crowd and putting on a sparkly leotard.
So big finish for the Hawkeyes on the balance beam. They're talking things over on the floor about Sophia McClelland's rotation. Then it'll be Allie Guard for Nebraska on an exhibition floor routine. But again, some more conversations on that last floor routine, what the final score will be, which will certainly affect the team score overall. We've seen things going back and forth on the overall scores. But so far, through to, let's talk about the beam event a little bit more. Talk about those scores. Ava Volpe started things out with a 9.75. Ebling followed up with a 9.85. Juck a 9.725. Aubrey Nick a 9.75. Rojas a 9.8. And then Karina Munoz closed things out with a 9.725. So all 9.7s and above, including a couple 9.8 pluses. So great overall routine and rotation for the Iowa Hawkeyes on the balance beam. What did you two see?
Yeah, as we move further into the season, we'll probably look to be scoring more in the 9.8, 9.9 range. Just a few bobbles here and there that they can easily clean up, and that will probably disappear as the season goes on and they get more confident and comfortable with the routines that they're doing. As for Nebraska, they looked great on the floor. Their tumbling was very explosive and dynamic, and they will just continue to build off of that.
Yes, and I mean, it seems that both Nebraska and Iowa are very big powerhouses on floor, so it will just be a toss-up, and as we can see, it's already a tight meet. And we have an exhibition on floor. Oh, a double pike, but she didn't quite get the landing.
This is Allie Guard for Nebraska on an exhibition floor routine. Sophia McClellan was officially given a 9.875, so Nebraska leading 147.375 to 146.325 on the overall team scores. Iowa known for being solid on their floor routines, but Nebraska has come out in full strength on the floor routine, scoring Tiedemann with a 9.8 to open things up. Jensen went 9.85, Rourke a 9.875. And then Bach Sky a 9.9. Then McClellan closing things out with a 9.875 for Nebraska.
And she's going into her third pass, her second pass being a punch front, punch full. Third pass, round up by handspring, double back, and to a stick. Good exhibition for the Huskers. Again, that exhibition spot is just to showcase how hard you've been working in the gym and to kind of get a feel for how judges are scoring, how that athlete competes, and how they do under pressure, and especially for the coaches to get a sense of how this athlete will contribute and fit into a lineup.
It's a fantastic routine for Allie Guard on her exhibition round. And we are through 3 rotations as we head to the 4th and final. The Iowa Hawkeyes will be on the floor. Nebraska will be on the beam. You're watching Big Ten Gymnastics on Big Ten Plus. Welcome back to Extreme Arena in Coralville, Iowa, where the Nebraska Cornhuskers currently lead the Iowa Hawkeyes 147.375 to 146.375 through 3 rotations. Iowa will now be on the floor, and Nebraska will be on the balance beam to close things out. I'm A.J. Reister alongside Aaron Castle and Q Henderson, and today is Cancer Awareness Day. Everyone's wearing their purple. Everyone's got their purple sweatshirts on. We have the purple cancer ribbons on our shirts in support of Cancer Awareness Day. And it's a great tradition that all Iowa sports typically have a day to show their support for cancer awareness and things like that. And this weekend, Dance Marathon held their big event, so it's all starting to flow together as this Cancer Awareness Weekend.
Yes, one thing about Iowa athletics is they are involved in the community. So all of the athletes across all the teams went out to the Iowa Memorial Union yesterday. Obviously, the university hosted its dance marathon 24-hour dance party, I guess.
That's basically what it was.
To raise awareness for cancer, but our athletes participated in an athlete hour where they got to play games with the kids, sign autographs, answer questions, and there was athletes from every sport there. Just something really special that our university does to kind of give back, especially with the Children's Hospital so close, and obviously a big part of athletics and what we do.
Isabel Sycon starting things out on the balance beam coming to Nebraska, but for people who don't know exactly what Dance Marathon is, it is a year-round student-run organization that raises money for cancer awareness, cancer research. There's a lot of dance marathon programs at a lot of different universities, including in the Big Ten and other universities as well. Iowa's is one of the bigger ones in the nation, and this year they raised close to $1.5 million for the Stead Family Children's Hospital. Just short of 1.5, but right about $1.45 million. Again, it's a year-round event. They host events for kiddos to come out to go to an Iowa Heartlanders game. They've gone to the Blank Park Zoo, the Science Museum, and things like that, just to get kiddos involved and hang out with other kids and the Dance Marathon leadership crew and the dancers as well, that get to hang around the kiddos and give them a little bit of a break from the hardship that they've gone through. So yeah, this last weekend, Dance Marathon had their big event. The athletes came out. A lot of gymnasts came out in support of cancer research.
Beautiful routine from Isabel on beam.
Isabel Sycon for the Nebraska Cornhuskers leading things off. She comes in with a season best on the beam, 9.8. Also good for her career best set earlier this season. And now we go to the floor. It's Alexa Ebling to open things up for the Hawks.
I've heard Alexa's going to do a 2-pass floor routine tonight, or this afternoon, I guess. So that means she's going to get some bonus elsewhere in her leaps and her jumps, and not her tumbling. Just opens up with a 1.5 front pike. Beautiful landing. It's a switch ring to a switch ring half. Going into her second pass here. Do a round off back handspring double tuck. Couple steps backward, had a little bit too much power. I know she's been working on those landings in the gym, and they're just going to keep getting better as the season goes on. Great routine for Alexa.
Ebling opens things up on the floor for the Hawkeyes. Sycon officially given a 9.8 on her beam routine to open things up for the Cornhuskers. As now it'll be Allie Gard, who had an exhibition floor routine. Now she'll go second on the beam. Guard comes in with a season best 9.75, a career best 9.875.
Goes for her acro series, which is a flick lay, very solid. Going for a full turn. So for the full turns, judges are actually looking for athletes to finish on releve, which means on their toes, and then going to a nice finish. I believe she also did a split jump quarter. She has a beat jump to a side aerial connected to a switch leap.
That's a difficult combo.
It is.
She's happy about it. She's smiling up on the beam.
And a hiked gainer to finish it off. That is a good routine for the Huskers.
Allie Guard goes second on the balance beam. Closes out her routine strong with a nice stick.
Looks like we got another judges conference on the floor, so it might be a second.
The third one we've seen. There's a lot of good things happening on the floor between the two squads as the judges go over to talk things over. Here's Ava Volpe. Has been incredible in the all-around for the Iowa Hawkeyes this season, especially with Adeline Kenlin now out for the rest of the year. They'll be leaning on the young Ava Volpe to really help out in that area, which is where Adeline's been key the last couple of years.
Yes. Unfortunately, Addie is out for this season, but the one thing about Addie is she's a good gymnast, but she's a better teammate, and she is going to be right by these girls' side, making sure that they're good to go when they compete, making sure that the standard is still held, making sure she's holding people accountable and in the best way. So Addie is still going to have a very significant impact on this team throughout the season, just unfortunately not gymnastics-wise.
Now Ava Volpe will step up and get ready to go. Still waiting on the official score after the judges held their conference. Volpe this season in the floor routine has a season best 9.775, which she has hit twice. The last one coming against Michigan State last weekend. She scored a 39.175, also good for a career best in the all-around last weekend against Michigan State.
And a reminder, everyone, she is in fact a freshman.
It's so funny because she's a little bit shy, but she just her personality comes out in her floor and in her gymnastics. She's so confident. Just a front layout, front Rudy. Beautiful controlled landing. Coach Libby, when she was warming up, I went up to her and said, "She's so cute." And she's like, "She's so cute, I can't take it."
Volpe the Kell Big Ten Freshman of the Week last week after her performances against Southern Utah and Michigan State.
We're going to her second pass. She's a round up back handspring double pike. Good landing, a little bit chest down. But per the usual, phenomenal routine from Ava Volpe.
Evelyn goes 9.375. Volpe closes things out on her routine. Allie Guard for Nebraska scored a 9.85 on her attempt in the balance beam. Now here is Jane Guy Backsky.
She's opening with a triple series, a back handspring, layout, just a little bit of trouble. And it is a deduction if you do wobble and then touch the beam. So that will be factored into her score. She has a switch leap to a split jump.
Box Sky will be the Huskers all-around performer. She's not completed an all-around this season, but has, of course, attempted every event. This will be her first full all-around score.
She goes for her dismount, a round-off double full. A slight hop back on the landing, but very good positioning, chest up.
That dismount again. That was a good landing.
So we'll see what Jane Gay Box Sky receives on her score as we go back to the floor routines. It's Hannah Castillo.
Hannah Castillo is so beautiful to watch on this event.
Castillo, a sophomore, against Michigan State, scored a 9.65 on her floor routine. She has a season high 9.875 against Minnesota.
Opens up with a front tuck step out through to a round off back handspring double pike. Pretty good landing on that one. Good leap series. Going into her second pass, she does a round off back handspring double tuck. Beautiful landing. Wow. Great routine for Hannah.
Castillo goes third on the floor for the Hawkeyes after Volpe's 9.85. Let's see what Castillo receives on that beautiful floor routine. Now we go back to the balance beam with Nebraska. It's Emma Simpton. Simpton this season has a season high 9.775, a career best 9.925, which she's hit twice. The last time she hit it was last year in March.
Looks like judges are having just a little confirmation on the last score.
No official result quite yet for Box Sky. Box Sky going for the all-around here for Nebraska. Now when you're the home team, you get a song for your balance beam routine, but when you're away, you don't. How different is it to not have a song compared to when you do, and how's that change your preparation?
It doesn't really change your preparation, I would say, because you're doing the same gymnastics, and also when you're in the gym every day doing your routines, it's just whatever music is on is on. So it's nice when you're at home and you have your song playing and it kind of centers you, but it's not really, you don't train with your song on every day, so your gymnastics shouldn't really change if your song isn't on.
She starts out her routine with a triple flight, back handspring layout step out. And like Erin said, it's not really, you don't really train to that particular beam song all the time. And depending on the gymnast, you know, some block it out, some are really in tune with what's going on directly around them. But,
Yeah.
I mean, your ultimate job is to do your skills, stay on the beam, and, you know, contribute to the best of your abilities.
Honestly, there's so much you're thinking about up there that you don't really have time to think about what song is on.
She finishes her beam routine with a side dismount, a gainer full, and that's a pretty good routine for the Huskers. Very solid.
and stuck the landing as well. Emma Simpson finishes her beam routine strong as we go back to the floor for Elise Karenbauer.
She has been an awesome addition to this floor lineup for the Hawkeyes this year. She is a little powerhouse. You will see that through her tumbling.
Elise Karenbauer, a freshman out of Mercer, Pennsylvania.
There's a round up back handspring to a full in. Moves that foot on the landing, so we'll need to kind of make sure that as the season goes on, gets more controlled so that there's not deduction.
Karenbauer scored a 9.725 on the floor last weekend against Michigan State. Has a season and career best 9.875, which was against Southern Utah last weekend when we were here. Castillo officially given a 9.875 for her floor routine.
Going into her next pass. She's a front touch, step out, round off back handspring, double tuck. Little bobble on that landing too. But her tumbling is very, very good. So just need to clean up the landings as the season goes on.
That was Elise Karenbauer. Again, another freshman on this squad that has been stepping up big time. I don't think we can say it enough. The number of freshmen and sophomores that are jumping into the starting rotations at each event. It helps when you have a seasoned group as well that's helping them out and coach them up, like you said, with Kenlin out. You said that she's also a great teacher as well, and it helps when you have that leadership in the locker room, helping out with the freshmen and sophomore that need to be stepping up, and they have been with the help of that leadership in the locker room.
Definitely.
So here's Asia Hall for Nebraska after Emma Simpson's 9.825 on the balance beam.
Started off just some slight complications. I believe it was a full turn, and then she did a beautiful flick lay. Beam is one of those events where, you know, you have to do the skill and then right after forget about it and move on. So you definitely have to be focused on each individual part. She's gearing up for her dismount. A round off 1.5 to a stick. And she's clearly happy about that routine.
A nice routine for Asia Hall on the balance beam. And go back to the floor. This time it's Emily Erb going fifth for the Hawkeyes.
Get ready for this one. She has some big tumbling.
Emily Erb this season has set a season and career high last weekend at Michigan State with a 9.9.
Start her opening tumbling pass. She does a round off back handspring, double pike, huge double pike, very controlled landing. That was good.
Elise Karenbauer officially given a 9.775 for her floor routine.
We're going to see a pretty tricky tumbling pass from her right here. She does a round off 1.5, front full. Saves that landing a little bit. try to stick it, but that is a very difficult two-salto pass.
Very good routine from Emily.
Emily Erb.
One more time, 1.5.
Wow, she just gets so much height.
I know. That's hard. That's a hard pass.
So it'll be Bailey Libby to close things out on the floor routine for Iowa, but first we'll head back to the bounce beam for Sophia McClellan to close things out for the Cornhuskers today.
She's going to do a very difficult skill, a wolf turn, a double wolf turn on the beam.
That was beautiful.
You have to have a lot of strength to do that skill.
McClellan today scored a 9.775 on the vault, scored a 9.75 on the bars, and then on the floor scored a 9.875.
She does a beautiful back handspring layout step out.
McClellan closed out the floor routine. And now she's getting ready to close out the beam routine. Emily Erb will get to her big score here in a second once McClellan finishes up on the balance beam.
She does her back handspring and a tucked 1.5 to a stick.
That was amazing. That was so good.
And of course a fun celebration to top it off.
They're happy with that one.
That was a very good routine for the Huskers.
So Nebraska closes out on the balance beam with Sophia McClellan. As we get ready for the final floor routine with Bailey Libby, but first Emily Erb, a career best 9.95 on her floor routine, a massive score.
Very well deserved on that one. We'll see. That sets Bailey up in the anchor position to get that score or better. You see Bailey open up with a front handspring, front double twist, beautiful landing. A couple weeks ago with Southern Utah here, the Hawkeyes were trailing most of the meet and they had a very big comeback on the floor, and Bailey anchored that with a 9.9, which led to a Hawkeye win. Beautiful second pass, did a 1.5 to a front layout.
We need a big score for Bailey Libby here. Nebraska leading 196.5 to 195.2 after Sophia McClellan's 9.9.
Beautiful leap pass. Getting ready for her third pass. Does a front handspring Rudy. It's a front 1.5 twist. Beautiful landing. That's what the Hawkeyes needed for their final routine. That was awesome.
Bailey Libby closes out the floor routine for Iowa.
See that second pass one more time. She does it so well because her front layout goes up higher than her 1.5 did, which is exactly what you want.
Here's Whitney Jenks for Nebraska. Exhibition round on the balance beam. Sophia McClellan closed things out with a 9.9. We'll await the final score on Bailey Libby's floor routine to get the final overall team scores.
Does a difficult skill, a front toss. To a switch leap. And then a straddle half. And gearing up for her dismount is a round off 1.5. Almost has the stick. Very close.
That'll close things out for Nebraska. Whitney Jenks closes out the balance beam officially for the Corn Huskers. So that will close the official team scores. Nebraska will get the win here, 196.5 to Iowa's 195.725. The Cornhuskers came in ready to go after that loss to 10th ranked Michigan, and they will get the win here.
The Corn Crown.
The Corn Crown goes to the Corn Huskers.
I know this is unbiased.
We need to make that an official
However.
thing.
We should make it an official thing. We're gonna
Right.
pitch that.
Who's going to make the corn crown for next year?
We'll talk
Made
to.
of corn stalk.
That'd be awesome. We'll talk to the Iowa Athletics Department, right? Get that thing done. Cornhuskers get the win in Coralville, Iowa, 196.5 to 195.725. Some fantastic finishes on both sides. Emily Erb, a season best 9.95 on her floor routine. And for Nebraska, Sophia McClelland, a 9.9 on the balance beam. She's going to have one heck of an all-around score after opening up on vault with a 9.775, with a 9.75 on bars, and then a 9.875 on the floor. And of course, as we just said, a 9.9 on the balance beam. So that's how this one will close up. Nebraska gets the win as they move to 2-1 in the Big Ten season. Iowa drops to 0-3 in the Big Ten play. From all of us here at Big Ten Plus, my partners Q Henderson and Aaron Castle, I'm AJ Reister. Have a wonderful rest of your Sunday afternoon, everyone.
it's time for our awards presentation. These student athletes top the standings. Joining us on the floor are today's award presenters. Please welcome some very special guests, young athletes in sports, young girls, Jocelyn Ray, Tinley Redlinger, Olivia Kaufman, Marlia Kaufman, and Grace Wilson. How about a warm welcome for our award presenters? Now for our awards. The first award for Standout MVP for Nebraska, Sophia McClellan. And Standout MVP award for your University of Iowa Hawkeyes, Ava Volpe. The winner in vault from Nebraska with a score of 9.875, Jade Boska. The winner on the honors from Nebraska with a score of 9.90, Emma Spence. The winner on B from Nebraska with a score of 9.90, Sophia McClellan. The winner on floor from Iowa with a score of 9.95, Emily Earl. In the all-around, the winner from Nebraska with a score of 39.25, Sophia McClellan. Now the final team scores from our competition. In second place with a score of 195.725, your University of Iowa Hawkeyes. And in first place with a score of 196.50, the Nebraska Cornhuskers. How about a big round of applause for all of our competitors? Gymnastics fans, while this marks the end of our competition, we take this opportunity to express our appreciation for your support and attendance this afternoon.